And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back from that short break as we have returned with our next best of 7. We have returned with Matcherino Esports versus Shopify Rebellion. We just wrapped up with Onside Gaming versus the Crane Freaks in a clean sweep. Onside looking strong, looking powerful. But now we get to feature some new teams that are debuting here in WTL for the first time. That is, of course, Matcherino Esports. We just saw their lineup. Now we can see Shopify Rebellion as well. Why is ByuN's ELO so... What? What? Wait, is low ELO better? That's right. That's how ELO works, right? Yeah. We want it to be lower? Question mark. Not higher. I'll be honest, I don't know how ELO works. As we're just getting into this, we're just having a look at the star players here, and Astrea is looking powerful. Of course, Matcherino Esports, they are a new team. They have risen from the ashes of Alpha X. You have players like Astrea, like Future, like Nightmare as well. They're going to be fielded tonight. Meanwhile, they're up against one of the stronger teams out there in ByuN, as he is, of course, the ace player of Shopify, and we are getting ready for this ByuN versus Astrea. Does anyone know how the ELO works? No? So lower ELO is... Why is ByuN so low then, if it isn't better? Why is Astrea so high? I don't understand. I don't understand. I need to do some research here as to what's going on. I'm very confused. Yeah, because ByuN is one of the best Terrans in the world. Straight up, he's one of the best Terrans in the world. They may be docking him just because Shopify Rebellion, they underperformed. They did underperform last season, and ByuN did struggle. He did struggle in WTL. So based on performances, maybe they're giving him a harder time, but this is rough though. Like 460? No shot. No way. What's going on? Who's cooking these books, Papi? Who's cooking them? Was it the same people that cooked the Colossus? Because they burnt it, Papi. They burnt it. Aye. As game 1 is going to be taking place on Dragon Scales. As a reminder to everyone, these maps will be played on the new patch. Old maps to begin with, but the new maps are available for the loser. They can pick them as we're getting into this. In the bottom right-hand corner, we have Astrea. In the top left, we have ByuN for Shopify Rebellion. ByuN versus Astrea. Here we go. Again, Matcherino Esports, they are a new team that have been around for a couple of months at this point, and it's really cool to see them to see Matcherino supporting the StarCraft scene, investing into their lineup here for WTL, as they recently did pick up Nightmare to really round off their team. And Future, Astrea, and Nightmare together, I do think that they are a strong foundation, and I do think that Matcherino Esports are one to keep an eye on in WTL. Meanwhile, we do see ByuN opening up with something a little bit cheeky. He's going for a double gas opener with a proxy Rax in the center of the map. Not the most committed proxy. It's still technically on ByuN's half of the map, but we're on Dragon Scales. Dragon Scales rush distance by ground is very short. It's a very short rush distance, very small map. So even though it's closer to ByuN, still very aggressive. It still does reduce the time it takes for that first Reaper to make it out. I'm assuming it's a Reaper. I'm assuming we're not seeing an add-on. And for now, Astrea, he's aware that ByuN is willing to proxy, and he's looking for said proxy. He's scouting and scouring the edge of the map, but the proxy is not on the edge. The proxy is in the center. Meanwhile, Astrea, after scouting, throws down a pylon of his own. This is looking prime for a proxy Stargate. And talking about the players a little bit, this is why I love Astrea. Astrea is a very aggressive player. I do think that he really does embody NA very well. Like, no, I'm not saying he's always a clown, but you know, he likes to clown it up at times. He likes to be hyper aggressive. He likes to explore and go for these really diverse and off meta builds just to throw off his opponent. Oh my god, what? Proxy Robo? Double Robo? What is happening? Proxy double Robo from Astrea. He's crazy. He doesn't have anything at home either, so I'm really worried that he may not be able to get into his game as the Reaper has arrived, and the first probe does go down. But here we go, the Adept does arrive as well. Now, I wonder, did ByuN count? Did he count that the second pylon was missing? The first pylon was there, but the second one was missing. ByuN goes for an eBay block here at the natural base. Little does he know that we are going for double robo. This is what, as soon as I said that Astrea embodies NA, this is what he goes for, and I love it so much. But here we go. SV does come in for a scout, and ByuN, he does come across the proxy, and seeing 2 robos is wild. We have an immortal on the way, a prism as well, and we can get into 2 more immortals behind this. This is so all in out of Astrea. Meanwhile, ByuN playing safe. Remember, he went for a double gas opener. ByuN did go for a double gas opener, which means faster factory, which means faster cyclone as well. The first cyclone is out, but we are on the newest patch. So remember, the lock-on range has been reduced, which means if we do get a lock-on in the prism, it's not as devastating as it otherwise used to be. This cyclone in the early game has been weakened. It has been nerfed in a way. It's a stronger all-around unit that you can amass, but early on, oh my god, it's a glass cannon already taking a big hit. Cyclone has to back off, has to respect this. Oh, we have shield batteries on the way! Let's go! Oh my god, there's no anti-air! No shot, there's no anti-air. The Viking is gonna zone away and hunt down the prism. This is massive! The prism goes down. Ay, that is huge! And yeah, ByuN, he can just camp the production. He can just camp the production. We do have a stalker on the way, but it's a slow warp in across the map. Boys are being pulled. Tank is in position. Good repair on that cyclone, topping it up. This stalker is going to fend off that Viking. It is going to keep this second prism alive. But this is already a big delay here for Astrea. He's being slowed down, and time is working against Astrea. He's all in. He's got to end the game. As time goes on, it's getting better and better for ByuN. And there we go. Good target firing on the tank. The immortal goes down. The prism arrives a little bit too late. The shield battery is helping, but it's not going to be enough as the second prism goes down, and that should be the end of this all-in, as there's only a single stalker remaining. Shield batteries are falling one after the other. Really good control out of ByuN, really good decision-making to prioritize that Viking. And unfortunate for Astrea. Unfortunately, he got scattered so early on that ByuN was able to piece together what was coming out. And, even does go for the scan, taking down that observer. Despite how wild this build was, I mean, Astrea, he's still doubling down. He's got another immortal out. He's rebuilding. He's making now a 3rd warp prism. He knows that a lot is on the line, and he doesn't want to lose a game this early on in this series. But again, ByuN is just becoming that much more secure. He's got a drop moving out across the map, and what do we have at home to defend? Do we have anything? We have a shield battery. We have a shield battery we can maybe recall if we have enough energy for one. No, we don't. We don't have enough energy for a recall. Marines, they push on forward. GG gets called, and ByuN will take game number 1. GG. Oh my god. GG, well played. A strong start here from ByuN. Again, this is what I was talking about. Like, this is why I love casting Astrea, because again, he's willing to be crazy. He's willing to, dig into his bag of tricks and dig in even further, past that bag into his hidden bag of cheddar as well. NA cheddar at that. Very stinky, very stinky. So it's great to see Astrea here doing, kind of breaking like the build here and breaking the mold is maybe a better way to put it, and thinking outside the box. Unfortunately, he got scattered very early on. Unfortunately, he gambled, and ByuN had happened to go for a double gas opener as well, and he had a proxy reaper that was harassing across the map, and it was a lot working against Astrea, unfortunately, and unfortunately game 1 didn't work out for him, but he has a chance here at Redemption. Game 2 is going to be on Astrea's map of choice, and it's going to be Neo Humanity. Interesting choice. So Neo Humanity, just like Dragon Scales, very small map, very short rushes map here, the shortest in the previous map pool. So with that, Astrea could try to be more aggressive again. What's interesting about Neo Humanity is that it's a double-edged sword. On the one hand, short rush distance, so you can be hyper aggressive early on. You can go for these big 2 base all-ins, 3 base all-ins, or if you manage to establish yourself on 3 bases, you can be very defensive on this map and try to cut the map in half, get up to a 4 or 5. They were a little bit harsh on him just because of his underwhelming performance last season. But here we go in game number 2. In the top left, we have Astrea for Matcherino. And in the bottom right-hand corner for Shopify Rebellion, we have ByuN. red Terran. Did we switch colors? Maybe, maybe not. I feel like red should be with Matcherino, but it's fine. it's totally fine. So getting into this, my eyes are on Astrea. So game one, he went for a one base all in. I don't expect to see I expect to see aggression out of Astrea, but maybe a different form of aggression. Usually, if you go for a one base all in and it fails, it's typically ill-advised to try to do it 2 games in a row. No, I'm not saying to do the same build, but like an all in regardless, 2 games in a row. Usually not the best idea, especially because ByuN, he's already in the zone. He's already in the zone in the mental space of defending against that sort of thing. So I wonder how Astrea approaches game 2 and how he approaches the series and what he brings to the table. For now, we're just going to be going for some standard openers here. ByuN going for a Rax Expand. Interesting. Despite what happened in game 1, we have a much more economic opener here from our red Terran. Likewise, Astrea going for a Gate Expand. So Astrea being greedy here, going to be going for the expansion before the Cybercore. Likewise, ByuN going for the Rax into his CC on the low ground. So very economic openers here from both players. Very interesting after a very hectic and very intense game 1. Is the dichotomy of StarCraft and how the winds change so quickly as well. So yeah, we could be easing ourselves into a more macro-oriented game. It's maybe a little bit too early to say that, but for now, the openers at least are very economic. We can even see Astrea opening up with a Sentry as well, which is again a very safe way to open up. Obviously, it doesn't have a lot of DPS, but it does have enough energy for a Hallucination. And with a Hallucination Scout, Astrea will be getting eyes on everything that ByuN is up to and making sure he gets eyes on any kind of crazy build, maybe an all-in, any hidden tech. Just keeping an eye on ByuN. So again, just very safe, economic, standard play. Let's go. And I should emphasize that a little bit as well in saying that even though Astrea was wild in game 1, he doesn't have to be. Like he is known for his late game, right? Especially when we've seen his series against Scarlett and Neve, like over in the NA region. Many times we've seen late game prowess from Astrea. You could argue that his late game may even be better than some of the other Korean players. He can look powerful in a longer game. Ooh, as he's... Oh my god. ByuN going for a fusion core, and this hallucination scout, it's gonna pay off. No! No, he doesn't check. Come back, Poppy. Come. No! Astrea! This was almost big brain. This was almost huge. Like for Astrea to go for a Sentry opener into a hallucination, to scout across that, but he doesn't see the fusion core. And ByuN, is he going BC? He's going for a BC opener in TVP. He's crazy. He's lost his mind. He's having fun. Oh my god. Okay. So, really, what's happened is we're playing on the NA server, and ByuN, you know, he's a big fan of America, and he's looking to NA it up a little bit here. The fusion core is done. There it is. The first battle cruiser is on the way. A BC opener in TVP is wild. Meanwhile, Astrea missed the scout. He went for a robo opener, which is very safe, by the way, to go for early immortals if you think you're being all in. The problem is that a robo opener isn't going to help you against BCs. It means that Astrea's Twilight Council is delayed, which means that Blink is also delayed as well. I'm a little bit concerned for Astrea, but we'll see if the Observer should scout this. The Observer should be able to come across the Starport and the Tech Lab. For now, it checks the natural base. Oh, and it is not going into the main. Okay. I mean, even if it saw the production, he could think it's a Raven, right? Raven openers are very common. Raven openers are very common in this matchup. And the Observer goes in, it does spot the Tech Lab. It's very important that he sees the first unit. That's what's important, because, again, it still just could be a Raven opener. Maybe it could be Banshees, and maybe he's getting ready for that. Oh, this is unfortunate. It's a Twilight Council opener and not Blink. He's going charge. He has no anti-air. How does he deal with this? He has vanilla Stalkers. The BC teleports across the map, and how much do we have that shoots up? We have a Sentry. Yeah, this BC is going to go ham. Probes are going down one after the other. 4 probes, 5 probes, no mining in the main base. We do have a lot of stalkers, but again, because they don't have blink, ByuN, he can avoid them. Like, this BC should not be in any danger at all. And BC just, it waddles away, just floats off into the top left-hand corner of the map. 8 probes go down, an insane amount of damage this early on. Behind this, we're transitioning into a bio-heavy composition, Marines, Marauders, Cyclones. Only 1 BC was invested in, which is crazy as well. For ByuN to throw down the Fusion Core for 1 singular battlecruiser is wild. Behind this, Astrea, he's trying to get into himself, or trying to get into his game. Working a charge, I believe Finish is working on Storm, working on Blink. Observer Scout does confirm Stim on the way, so he does confirm that it's going to be a bio-oriented composition. It's not going to be mech, which is important to take note of because mech has been a little bit more prevalent in this new patch. Cyclones have been viable here against Protoss. And Storm is going to be crucial. High Templar being morphed in. The bio pushes upon us. ByuN setting up a massive push here through the center of the map. Cyclone just being a little bit annoying here on the right-hand side, drawing away the army while ByuN is setting up. Now, ByuN isn't all-in. He does have a 3rd CC. 3rd CC is on the way for ByuN. So he's working on his own 3rd base. Zealots do control the Zelnaga, so Astrea does see the army. He's going to be rotating over. Again, he has Storm, he has High Templar. He doesn't have a Prism, so the High Templar are a little bit exposed. Decent storms. Yeah, they do cover the Marines. Big storms here on the army of ByuN. Loses the majority of his forces and he has to back off. A good moment here for Astrea. 14 Marines to 2 storms. For energy. Uh-oh. Okay. His mine's going to be going off. Takes down a Stalker. Good pick off. But again, like Astrea, he needed a fight to go his way after the early game. And yeah, that was a good start. A good start for Astrea. As his 3rd base is up and running, we're working on a 4th base behind this, straight into it as well. No fear from Astrea. We love to see it. Working on Double Forge for upgrades, building up his forces. He doesn't have too much, so he has to be careful not to overextend. As he's trying to pick up a couple of these Marauders, but does have to respect the army here of ByuN. Throws down 2 storms, not the best storms though. Good spread here from ByuN. And this was an overextension. Astrea, he didn't have to move out like this. He's going to lose everything. He had a good initial fight, but this was just a bit too much. Astrea, he loses all of his high-tech units. The Archons, the Immortals, the High Templar. He warps in another wave, but ByuN, he's got a lot of momentum going his way. He's going for a big counterattack, and oh boy, I don't know if Astrea can hold on. He has a couple of High Templar remaining. They are going to be coming in from left-hand side. But ByuN is pushing into that 3rd base. And again, Astrea, he just lost a little bit too much earlier. Too many losses. Looks like he will take down the BC, but some big EMPs on the High Templar. 1 storm is all that Astrea had left. Now he only has a gateway army. ByuN, he's stimming on forward. Shield battery is out of energy. We already overcharged. And this may just be too much. ByuN forcing his way through, snowballing out of control. Astrea making 1 mistake too many. The entire army crumbles, and this 3rd base has been broken, and now ByuN, he can gain access to the natural. He can keep on pushing. The Forge is the 1-1 is going to finish up just in time. The Forge does go down. Again, it doesn't matter too much because ByuN is focusing on just breaking into that natural base as well. Stalkers are doing what they can. Astrea, he's trying to hold on here. He does force ByuN back for a moment, but ByuN, really, he's just consolidating his army. He's repositioning and rotating back around to keep on pushing. The Ghost does go down. Again, it's still just too much. Snipes go off, GG gets called, and ByuN will take the series 2-0, having a strong start for his team, clearly deserving of a better ELO. Because what Astrea, he's like up 200 ELO compared to ByuN, something crazy like that. So with that, ByuN does take a 2-0, looking to redeem himself in the eyes of the WTL admins, looking strong here, and even styling a little bit on Astrea by going for those battle cruisers. Astrea, he did have his own moments in this game. He was clawing his way back in. Again, he had a really good timing on his fourth base. He had a saturated third. He had a good initial fight. But he did overextend. I do think that he thought he had more momentum than he did, and he was caught exposed. He was caught with his pants down, out in the open, out on ByuN's half of the map. And as soon... And we have returned. We're getting ready for our second matchup of the night. The ELOs have been revealed, and Harstem with a steady 506 ELO. What does that mean? I don't know. Higher than ByuN, apparently. Wait, are they rating Harstem higher than ByuN? God, are they rating Future higher than Harstem? I mean, look, I'm a big Future fan. I love my Future, but I don't understand. I don't get it. Regardless, we're getting ready here for our TVP. Future was in Korea for quite some time. I believe he's currently back in the States. I think he's back in North America, but he was in Korea for, I want to say, 6 months, living with Astrea, living with Scarlett, putting in a lot of work and a lot of effort, and Future has been improving a lot. And specifically in this matchup, I want to believe that Future can look strong. This is his debut, by the way, his first time competing in World Team League. Yeah, I don't think he was fielded for Alpha X earlier, so here we go in the top left-hand corner for Matcherino Esports. It is Future. And in the bottom right-hand corner for Shopify Rebellion, it's the captain himself. It is Harstem. Oh my god, gotta zoom on his face. Jesus. Calm down. Why is the cam in the face? It's right up in there. It's fine, it's fine. We want more Harstem. We want more Harstem in our lives. It's good. It's good. But yeah, this is gonna be an interesting one. I do think that this is gonna be a close series overall. Again, Harstem has been an active player a lot longer. For those wondering, Future, he was one of the best Terrans in North America for a very long time. He retired a couple of years ago. He did step away. He was focusing on his studies. He was focusing on other aspects of his life. And then last year he returned. And he was dabbling in StarCraft. He was playing in the DreamHack qualifiers. He was competing in DreamHack itself. Future, he made his return last year. And this year he doubled down and joined Matcherino Esports. They supported his endeavors in traveling to Korea, practicing training. And while he was in Korea, Future, he was taking down players like DRG, Ragnarok, Solar. Future, he was popping off with a very unique style, is what I will add to that, though. Like, Future is very unorthodox. He's very NA. Just like Astrea, Future, he's very willing to just divert from the norm and go for these weird builds and catch these higher tier players off guard. I do think he can do well in a best of 2 format. I do rate Future a little bit higher here. I expect him to pop off and to have some surprising results, but already we have an interesting opener. Double gas opener. Rax is on the low ground. So the way this works is that this is basically a fake out. It's a fake proxy Rax. He was hoping to maybe force Harstem to overreact, but the Rax was in the natural base. Reaper shows up, and Harstem now knows that the Reaper is in the natural. It's on Future side of the map. There was no proxy. Future, he was just trying to fake out his opponent. Unsuccessful in the end, as Future does have an SCV out on the map. Now, with this double gas opener, we could go into a proxy starport. I'm curious if that's what we're thinking of. Future is expanding, is taking his natural on location, so it is going to be a factory expand. And Harstem is opting to go for a Stargate opener. As a reminder, we are playing on the new patch. So, Future, does he have much experience on the new patch? We go, oh, that's a second factory. Let's go. That is a second factory on the way. Mass Cyclone is upon us. For those wondering, for those of you that do not know about the new patch, the Cyclone is a big change here to the game. And that is not just a second factory. I believe that is a proxy second factory. Oh my god. Mass Cyclone is on the horizon here for Future. Something that has been prevalent here against Zerg and against Protoss over the past 24 hours. Again, the patch is live on NA. If you're curious how this works, basically, the Cyclone is cheaper, but the Cyclone is also more fragile. It has less armor, it has less HP, but you can reactor out Cyclones, which is something you couldn't do before. So you can mass Cyclones a lot faster as well. The lock-on range is shorter, but overall, because it's less reliant on the lock-on, I do believe that it has like a higher attack rate, just because it doesn't have to rely on that as much. And with the amassing of these Cyclones, you can snowball out of control, but the factory has been spotted. Factory was spotted already. Ooh, the Cyclone survives. Harstem with a big reaction on the camera, losing his Oracle. Not a good start for the captain, but he knows what's going on. Shield batteries are on the way. Additional gateways are on the way. Harstem now knows that he's, again, being cycloned, or he's soon to be cycloned. Can he prepare? Can he deal with this, though, as we have SCVs to repair? Lock-ons are upon us as well, looking to try to shut down that first Stalker. But, oh my god, the overcharge, keeping everything alive. Trying to keep everything alive as Harstem is holding. But that overcharge is about to run out. Oh my god, we have so many shield batteries. We have 3 more shield batteries on the way. Is that going to be enough? That is an Artosis pylon. I wonder if Future does recognize that. Yes, he does get a lock-on. Will be losing one of his Cyclones in the end. Does go for a scan, but the lock-on was broken. That's the other downside. The lock-on range is now much shorter. Yeah, we do break the lock-ons. Harstem, he's holding. He warps in another wave of Stalkers, and it looks like there's just too much Protoss. As I say that, shield batteries are running out of energy. Oh, they are out of energy, but the Stalkers are standing strong. A second Oracle is moving out across the map. The Cyclones are getting very low. The SCVs have fallen. We cannot repair. And Harstem has held across the map. He's killing SCVs. Now, he did lose 15 probes. Oh, can we stay within lock-on range? We cannot stay within range. Harstem did lose a lot of workers, but he's still ahead. He's ahead in workers, ahead in economy. Blink is on the way. Harstem has survived. And Future's in a really rough position. Again, he invested so much, so heavily into those Cyclones. He had to end the game then and there. Imagine if he was able to stay within range. Again, like, I do think that a really big change to the Cyclones, which is maybe sometimes overlooked, is that the lock-on range is like less than half of what it once was. So the counterplay is there, and it is much easier to break the lock-on of the Cyclone, much easier to, as a result, take away a lot of the DPS potential as well, and have some counterplay available. So it's honestly a really interesting kind of trade, like a give and take with this Cyclone. And Harstem, he was able to trade well enough, he was able to micro well enough, did survive. Third base is on the way. Now the pressure is on Future. The pressure is on. I just love that now, like, in the past, in the previous patch, if a Cyclone locked onto something, it would die. Like, it would just stay locked on and it would kill it. Now you can kind of micro against it a lot more here. And now Blink is done, which means Harstem has a stronger way to counteract the Cyclone. We can see that Future is going to be going into a more bio-heavy composition with additional Raxes. Stim 1-1 on the way, or +1 attack on the way as well, alongside combat shields. But Harstem is moving out, and I do worry here for Future. He does take down the Oracle. Oh, another big reaction to Harstem. With the death of that Oracle, he doesn't have high ground vision. He cannot blink into the main. But he will take down that bunker. I was about to say that if Harstem did have high ground vision, I think he may have just won the game. Like, he can just blink into the main base, take down the Cyclones, take control of the ramp, and we would have seen a different game here, but alas, Harstem has been a little bit careless with his Oracle more than once. Despite that, though, he pushes on 40, takes down the tank on the low ground. As he is forced to back off. Now, behind this, Future hasn't thrown down a third CC. There is still no third CC from Future, so this is looking like the beginnings of a 2-base all-in. He does have a decent tank count. He's got a decent Cyclone count. Future, he may be looking to pull the boys. Yeah, with 4 racks is 100%. This is a 2-base all-in. May end up pulling the boys with this. The hallucination comes in, does scout, does confirm the additional Raxes. And yeah, Future is sending everything across the map. SCVs have been pulled. Not too many of them, but some of them nonetheless. Harstem, because he scouts this ahead of time, he's going to be able to chip away at this army, slow it down, pick off Marines, pick off Cyclones. He even has force fields. Yeah, and he slices up the army. One Cyclone does go down as well. Big losses here for Future. And behind this, Future, he throws down a CC on location. A very late third base. It looks like Future, he recognizes that he cannot end the game. He cannot take this. And he's going to have to try to macro out of this, but I feel like Future is just a little bit too far behind. I don't see how he can macro out of this. As Future takes a third, Harstem, he's taking a fourth. Yeah, the Zealot run by, it catches reinforcements, takes down Marines. Future, he has to make some magic happen with this push. He does get within range of the Robo. He's going to be able to shut it down. But here comes Harstem from behind. At the same time, the Zealot run by taking down so many SCVs, and yeah, it looks like there's just too much Protoss here. The army of Future is being cleaned up across the map. 21 SCVs go down. GG gets called, and Harstem will take game number 1. Not the cleanest game out of Harstem, and we saw him shake his head a little bit. He wasn't too happy about his performance, but regardless, he does take game number 1. And now Future, alongside Matcherino World Team League, we are featuring the current map pool, the new map pool. Let's go. Let's go. Now, I'll be honest, there are 9 new maps, and I was laddering earlier today, and I have found some very interesting things regarding the new maps. But when it comes to the names, I'm still having a hard time associating them, so we're going to have to wait until we get into the game for me to remember which map this is. And piece together, why is it that Future picked this map, and what does he have in store for us? Because there are a lot of quirky maps in the new map pool. There's a lot to go over, but here we go, spawning in the top left-hand corner of Hard Lead. We have Future for Matcherino Esports. And in the bottom right-hand corner for Shopify Rebellion, it's the captain himself. It is Harstem. Here we go. Oh boy. We are loading in. For those wondering, on the NA server, the new patch is live. The new ladder map pool is live as well. I believe it's going to be in the European server soon TM, I believe in the next day or so. Typically, the European server is patched later than or after the NA server. The reason why, I don't know. But it is. It's always been the case where the European server is just patched like a day later than the NA server. For whatever reason, that is going to be the case once again here as well. As Harstem is going to be going for a probe scout across the map. Now, a map like Hard Lead does have a couple of Xel'Nagas on the map. Yes, there are a lot of rocks on the map as well, which do open up and do provide for a far more interesting mid to late game as well. But I'll be honest, I haven't seen too much on this map. I haven't seen too much. Like, there's some maps out there with gold bases, with some interesting kind of like pocket bases as well. Really easy to take third, really easy to take fourth bases. Here on Hard Lead, I am a little bit less familiar, so we're going to explore this map together. And Future is going to introduce us to it. For now, economic opener. Okay, we have an economic opener here from Future, going for a Rax Expander single gas opener. I wasn't quite expecting this, but it makes sense. Like, after a wild game 1, we're calming down in game 2. We are going to be calming things down. I wonder... I do think that Harstem is a part of the Balance Council, so I'm sure he's vaguely familiar here with his map. Back at home. Oh, something that we haven't seen in quite some time. Okay. It is going to be a 3-Rax. Also, I remember reading the bio for this map, and I think it said something along the lines of the center has a really narrow choke point, very similar to Lightshade, has a short resistance by ground as well. So it does make sense to go for a 3-Rax on a map like this, where the 3-Rax can hit harder and faster. Also, I got ahead of myself. Never mind. That was a 2nd Rax, yes, followed by a factory, not a 3rd Rax. Okay, my apologies, my mistake here. Future going for something different. Now, this year, it was post Katowice, like March, April of this year, we saw a rise of 2-1-1 in TVP, which is really risky. ByuN was doing it, Mario was doing it. it is typically a really risky thing to go for. I wonder if that's what we're planning to go for here for future. As he's building up his marine count, he has that tech lab on the way on that second Rax. Yeah, and there's that starport as well. So we are going for the 2-on-1. Are we going for an add-on swap? No, we're not. So we're rushing into Stim. So again, this is a really risky thing to go for. The reason for this is because it's a Stargate opener into Robo. This is potentially Phoenix Colossus set up here from Harstem. He's going for a Oracle first, but he can go into Phoenixes. And you're not really going to have a tank set up here. You're not going to have any Ravens either because you're going to Medivacs. This is a really risky maneuver. Basically, your 16 Marine Medivac push, your Medivac drop, it has to do damage. If it doesn't, you're in a way setting yourself behind because, again, you're going to be lacking in tanks. You're going to be lacking in Ravens and everything else here. You're putting all of your eggs in one basket, in two baskets, in two Medivacs, really. We'll see if Future can pull this off. As this is a build typically reserved for TVZ. The other thing, of course, is that you do relinquish map control. You relinquish map scouting as well. There's no Widowmine drop. There's no Reapers. There's no Hellion scouts either. Future is stuck at home. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe Future hasn't seen anything as to what Harstem is up to. Now, he sees the Oracle, so he knows it's a Stargate opener. He can assume that it's going to be into Robo, into Colossus. And this revelation does confirm the build. Harstem is fully aware of the Stim timing that's going to be coming out. Pretty crucial scout, actually. Like, I'm worried for Future. Double drop is moving out. This is what we've been building up towards. Stim is on the horizon. It will finish up by the time the drop gets across the map. Phoenixes do miss the drop. But the Marines aren't at home, which means we could try to get some economic damage. Yeah, there we go. We're going ham, and a couple of SCVs will go down. SCVs, Marines as well. Stim not done yet. And Future is across the map. He loses 4 SCVs. He has to do some counter damage here. Ay. He's losing too much. 7, 8 SCVs go down. The pressure is on Future, and because that spotter pylon, because of the revelation earlier, Future, he hasn't been able to do anything yet. Now, what's important, though, is that he has kept all of his Marines alive. He's kept most of his Marines alive. And he can build up towards a later timing. We can see Concussive Shell, +1, Combat Shields on the way. You can kind of pivot away from this and go for like a secondary push instead. And we've seen this a lot, again, from ByuN. This can work wonders. But what I will say is that at the moment, Harstem is in the driver's seat. He's done a lot of economic damage. He's working towards a third base. Harstem already has a Colossus, and the higher the Colossus count gets, the easier it becomes to defend. Especially against these biocentric compositions. Against Marines and Marauders, like, mate, we get up to 3 Colossi, we're not dying. It's not happening. Like, we will survive. So, again, I am a little bit concerned here for Future. So far, he's still sharking around. He's still looking for any kind of value. Oh my god, he does come across the Phoenixes! Good catch. Didn't kill anything, unfortunately. A bit of a slow reaction out of Future. If he had stimmed, then he probably would have killed both Phoenixes. But he does soften them up at least. So it's something. Here we go as his reinforcements are moving out across the map. No third CC behind this, if I'm not mistaken. I believe this is a 2-base setup from Future. He does come across his Colossi. Big force fields. Oof. And Future loses a massive chunk of his army. The Concave is looking good, but the swipes from the Colossus, oh my god. They annihilate the Marines. 1 Colossus goes down, but only 1 will go down. Oh my. You can see Future just making, Harstem making a bit of a face. He's like, oh my. Harstem looked impressed. He looked impressed by what just happened. He's like, oh my damn. The Colossus, they just went ham. And yeah, again, 3 Colossi. They can achieve a lot. They can achieve a lot together. And with that, the wind has been taken out of the sails of Future. You can see him double down. He throws down 2 more Raxes, and he's starting Viking production. But at this point, Future's falling further behind. Like, he was building up towards this big 2-base push, and he had kept his Marines alive from earlier as well. And that was it. That was his moment. But it was a rough start. It was a rough start for Future, and now, yeah, he's up against the wall. Tries to go for a mine drop. Does get caught out by these Widow Mines. Sorry, by these Phoenixes. Mines are being cleaned up one after the other. Now, can he come back in this game? There's a world out there. There's a world where if he catches the Phoenixes, if his Widow Mine drop gets across the map, if he gets into a mineral line, if Harstem doesn't react, if he loses probes, if he loses the mineral line, then maybe Future can come back. But a lot has to go his way. A lot has to go right for Future, and a lot has to go wrong for Harstem. Let's see if he can pull it off. Meanwhile, Widow Mines are caught out. Two of them go down. Future trying to get his third base on location, working on a second starport for additional Vikings. Not entirely certain where that mine drop went, or maybe it decided to come back after being spotted. And Future is now going to be the aggressor. Sorry, Harstem is now going to be the aggressor. He's built up his forces. He's got his Colossus count back up and running. Charge lots, Phoenixes. Harstem, can he break this defensive position here? Mine shots are going to be going off. The Zealots get cleaned up. Harstem has to be careful not to overextend here. He loses the majority of his Zealots. Those Colossus are looking a little bit vulnerable. Now, he still has another massive wave of Zealots underneath it. The boys, they have to be pulled. Colossus swipes once again, going ham on the Marines, on the Marauders. The Zealots are breaking on through. GG gets called, and Harstem, oh my god. Harstem takes the series 2-0, and he wins it for Shopify Rebellion. Oh my god. GG, well played. Harstem able to clean things up here. Future, he had some interesting builds. I do think there was a lot of potential in game one. Game one was close. Game one was a close hold from Harstem. Again, if the Cyclones were able to maintain their lock-ons a little bit longer a couple of times, then maybe Harstem falls then and there. But no, he survives here in game two. He scouted the 2-1-1 opener. He was able to shut it down ahead of time and able to punish it as well because there was nothing at home to defend. The economy was crippled, and yeah, solid game there from Harstem in game two. And now we get into the final best of two, the final series. Again, Shopify are looking strong. They've already won the series, but Nightmare is still looking for some points, and at the end of the day, the overall score could come into play if we get some tiebreakers later on. If we get to the playoffs and we have some tied up scores for either Shopify Rebellion or Matcherino Esports, then these scores do matter, and they did matter last season. So there is still, something behind this series. Pressure is off of Scarlett. She doesn't have to win this, but it would be better if she did. It'd be better if she did clean things up with another 2-0 as well for her team. Meanwhile, Nightmare also going to be fighting back for himself for Matcherino in this PvZ. We're going to take a moment here to just get ready for our last series, so don't go anywhere. And welcome back, and welcome back. This is the first player that we've had sub 400 ELO, right? Is that a good thing or a bad thing? As we're getting into this, and Nightmare has almost double the ELOs. What does this? How is this working? I don't understand. Regardless, we're getting into our last best of two here between Matcherino Esports and Shopify Rebellion. Hope you enjoyed that break. We just wrapped up with Future versus Harstem, and again, Shopify will win this series, but how are they going to win this? Is it going to be 4-0? Sorry, is it going to be a 6-0? Is it going to be a 4-2? Is it going to be a 5-1? How will this go? There's still weight behind this series, still weight behind this best of two. Game 1 is on Neo Humanity. Game 2 will be loser's pick, and you can pick from the new map pool as well. It is possible. Oh, yo, and you thought that we had a big zoom on Harstem? Let me introduce you to Nightmare. Oh my god, very intimate introduction here as we can only see half of his head, but we can see his face, and that's what matters most. That's what matters. Let's go. Harstem with Nightmare with an ELO of 600, Scarlett with 384. I'm still uncertain whether a higher or lower ELO is better. I'm still not entirely certain on that. And how they can compare to each other. Earlier I was wondering, like, is lower ELO better? But I remember that because Shopify Rebellion underperformed last season, it's possible that they may have been harsh with the Shopify players, because if you remember, Shopify did not make it to the playoffs. They did not make it to the playoffs of WTL Summer. They actually, they didn't make it out of the group stage. So it's very possible that because of that, again, Scarlett, ByuN, and Harstem, they kind of strolled a little bit last season. So as a result, that could be as to why their ELO is a lot lower than it otherwise would be, because we are basing the ELO off of previous WTL seasons, not off of overall like performances. Probably WTL and maybe like Kung Fu Cups as well. I'm just theorizing. I don't actually know for certain, but that would make sense in my mind. As spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have Nightmare for Matcherino Esports. And in the top left, we have for Shopify, it is Scarlett. Here we go. What is the highest ELO so far? We've had like 600 and something, right? I want to say we've had over 600. I think Maru over 600. Can I double check? I think maybe that'll be a good baseline, because Maru did really well last season in WTL. So what was his score? As we're getting into this, and so far it's going to be a hatch gas pool here from Scarlett. Nightmare going for a standard opener as well. I'm quickly just double checking what Maru's ELO was. Hold on, I'm looking further back in the VOD. Oh my god, Maru has 800. Jesus. That's okay. This puts things into perspective. Maru, he has 877 ELO. That's the biggest we've seen. Okay. Clearly, higher ELO is better, with Maru having almost 900. Okay. Now we know. Now we know for certain. Maru, 877. Jesus. Okay. Well, and now we've got that sorted. So higher is better. For the time being, we do see Nightmare just being a little bit annoying here with his probe. As we get into this, we should talk about the players a little bit. Of course, Nightmare has been on the up and up recently. He is a very strong Protoss player over in South Korea. He was overshadowed on Abydos. He wasn't Team Abydos last season. But of course, it's hard to shine when you're on a team with Creator and with Cure. So here on Matcherino, I do think Nightmare is going to be more of a star player on Matcherino Esports. I do think he can really thrive and he can really shine on this team, as he's going to be aggressive. That's a Twilight Council. Twilight Council opener here from Nightmare. He is looking to go into potentially Glaive Adepts. Could be a DT opener. Talking about Nightmare a little bit more here. Nightmare, he is a more aggressive Protoss player when I compare him to, Creator, for example. Nightmare is very in your face whenever he can be. He can go into a longer game if he has to, but he really thrives in the early to mid game. That's where Nightmare is at his strongest. And going for something like a Glaive Adept opener does make sense. And there it is. Glaives is on the way for Nightmare. It's going to be on Scarlett's Scout. It's going to be on Scarlett to recognize this. For now, she's keeping up with the Adepts. The big question becomes, how committed is Nightmare? Unfortunately, we haven't really been able to get an eye on the gas count. The gases will tell us if Nightmare plans on the... Okay, there we go. So we only have 2 on each gas, guys. So this should be 4-gate. 4-gate Blink Stalker. Not overly committed. If we pulled back into gas, this could be 6-gate, or we could go into a faster robotics bay, but this is just 4-gate. So this is a way to get ahead. It's a way to cripple the economy and get into a third base, get into a longer game, get into a macro game. This is not designed to kill. This is designed to main. Meanwhile, Scarlett going for a safety Roach Warren. That is going to be at 4 minutes, so a good timing on said Roach Warren. Looks like she has identified that it is not a Stargate opener. Of course, she saw the timing on the Warp Gate, and she sees the lack of Oracle that's moving out. So Scarlett is playing very safe, and she will be able to make Roaches back at home in the middle of this defense. As the Adepts are moving out, and they are spotted by the Lings. Here we go. 14 Lings are in production. Roach Warren's on the way. We have Spores as well. The reason why we have Spores is because Scarlett doesn't know if there's DTs with this. There are DT variations with Glaive Adepts, so you need those Spores just in case. As the Adepts have arrived, they're going to be shading in. Going to be threatening a shade at least. It looks like the Spores were cancelled, actually. We do have a Spore. We did have 2 Spores in production, but Scarlett has identified that it's not a DT opener, so she's being as efficient as possible, cancelling those Spores. And Roaches are in production. So far, these Adepts, they have done nothing. They force a reaction from Scarlett, but they haven't done any real damage yet. Again, we're going to be threatening these shades. This is another big reason as to why I don't like Glaive Adepts on Neo-Humanity. The rush distance is short, yes, but honestly, these bases are so compact. It doesn't take much to really rotate between them. As Scarlett is keeping up. Oh, and we do see Nightmare turning around, going to be able to get on top of some of these Ravagers, but doesn't quite get any. Yeah, he's going to be losing some Adepts in the process. And back at home, Nightmare is transitioning. He has a third base on the way. We have Blink, Stalkers, Forge for +1. And Scarlett's looking really strong. Again, this opener had to do damage. It had to kill workers. Again, it didn't have to kill Scarlett, but it had to, you know, make it worth his while. Like, Glaive Adepts do not scale well at all. And as Nightmare moves out to the Lings, they go for a big counterattack. They get a surround on these Stalkers, and they could be looking to cancel the third base. They get on top of the pylon. The pylon will go down. Several two of these Stalkers. Does Scarlett have enough to overwhelm this? Looks like she doesn't. Third base will be saved. Good hold there from Nightmare. Was that the Prism? Did the Prism just die? Oh. Oh, if so, that was a big mistake. But I think the Prism's still alive. I think it's here on the left-hand side. I think the thing that died was the Observer. Yeah, Prism's still... Okay, we're good, we're good. Prism is going to be threatening the main base. While Nightmare is still just continuing to be active with his Adepts, Nightmare has a lot of catching up to do. He's working towards Stalkers, working towards +1. I wouldn't be surprised if Nightmare goes for a 3-base all-in. I'm curious to see if he takes his gases at his third. Like, Nightmare has options. He either tries to turtle up as hard as possible, or he goes for a 8-gate Blink Stalker all-in. So far, I don't think we're quite there with the gateways yet. The Adepts are being active. They're cleaning up creep at least. But again, Scarlett looking solid here on these 3 bases. Scarlett, she's joined up to 73. That's almost 4-base saturation. From here, she can focus on Lings and Roaches, on nothing but army. And this means that a 3-base all-in is going to have a hard time killing Scarlett, to be honest. If Scarlett was being greedier, if this had hit sooner, then maybe. But for now, Nightmare, it's going to be an uphill battle. And here we go. He's warping in 5 Stalkers at a time. Pushing through on the left-hand side. He hasn't taken his gases at his third base. He hasn't taken the 4th either. Nightmare is committed. Here we go. How good are these wings going to be? The force fields are looking damn good, though. He does slice up the army. At the same time, Adepts do shade into that third base. And drones are going down. A good distraction here from Nightmare, but can he push even further? His Adepts have fallen. The Blinks are looking okay. He is taking down a lot of Roaches. A good target firing from Scarlett. Alas, the Stalker count is amassing a little bit too high, and he's breaking through. Gets on top of the Queens. We have 14 more Roaches in production. Was Scarlett too greedy? Scarlett is taking up into a hive. Oh, but a couple of Stalkers are going down. We need to preserve the Stalker count. As that last Queen does fall. Nightmare still very all-in here. He is taking a Gas Geyser back at home. That is a sign that he wants to take up into something like a Robotics Bay. Nah, never mind. Okay, there we go. We have 2 more gases in production. So it looks like Nightmare is preparing to transition, but at the same time, he blinks on top of the army. He gets on top of the Ravagers. And Nightmare is going to be able to clean up a lot of this army. Did he overextend though? As he's going for another warp in now, he takes down the Roaches, gets on top of the Ravagers. GG gets called, and Nightmare barely pulls off the 3-base all-in. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Scarlett maybe a little bit too greedy, taking up even further into Hive Tech, when really she just needed not just Roaches, but Lings as well to help support, to help buffer, to help survive, because Nightmare, he didn't have +2 on the way, he didn't have a Bay on the way, or a Templar Archives. There was no higher form of tech. All that Nightmare had was gateways, like a gateway army. That is all he had available to him. Again, it was a 3-base all-in, and GG, Nightmare does take game 1. GG, well played. And with that, we are going to be getting into Scarlett's map choice. Now, it is loser's pick, so Scarlett can pick between the old map pool or the current map pool. And there we go. Oh, interesting. We're going for Equilibrium. Okay, so this map has some Cosmic Sapphire. No, not Cosmic, sorry. Stargazers vibes. If you're familiar with Stargazers, it's similar. Very short rush distance by air, short rush distance by ground. There are a lot of bases towards the south, and the northern portion of the map is really interesting. There are a lot of choke points to take advantage of. I do think that you can take a 4th base pretty easily on this map, if you can hold on to your natural area. So this is a little bit of an interesting map, and I wonder what Scarlett's decision is going to be here. Does she want to go into Mutas, perhaps? Like, Muta play is viable in ZVP, especially in the mid game. If it goes on scouted, Mutas can do a lot of damage. I wonder if maybe we have another plan. Again, short rush distance by ground. Maybe a Queen Walk, maybe some kind of all-in. I wonder what Scarlett has planned. Again, I haven't seen much of Hard Lead, but Equilibrium, I know that map. So we're getting into this, and spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have Nightmare for Matcherino Esports. So right in the top left-hand corner, we have Scarlett representing Shopify Rebellion. Here we go. As we are getting into this. Again, Shopify, they've already won the series, but of course, we'd like to win it a little bit harder, as Nightmare is going for a scout across the map. Again, as I mentioned before, very reminiscent of Stargazers in a way, where you have a short rush distance by air, by ground. Is going to be a hatch first from Scarlett. Nothing too crazy. And Nightmare is just going to confirm that, making sure that everything is as it should be. I wouldn't be surprised if Nightmare was just a little bit on edge as to what Scarlett could be whipping out on one of the newer maps. Again, there is a Zonaga in the center. We do have some really interesting choke points towards the north. Because of those choke points, if you do take the forward 4th base, or that forward northern base as your 4th, I do think as a Protoss player or as a Terran player, you can hold onto it quite easily. You can wall off. There are some very narrow areas there that have to be dealt with, or that are the only ways into those bases. And again, short rush distance by air. I'm feeling Mutas, but we'll see. For now, Nightmare, he's just being as annoying as possible, trying to disrupt the mining here of Scarlett. as he's getting into his gate expand, into his cyber core. We're easing ourselves into this game. When it comes to the new patch, obviously changes were made, and we have seen a couple of slight variations when it comes to a lot of these units. I think a big one is that there has been a big nerf to banelings. So we do have a Stargate opener from Nightmare, and I was talking about like the power of Skytoss on this map, or air units on this map, and I was focusing a lot on mutas. I wonder if Nightmare is planning to commit a little bit harder as well. We'll see. We have seen a lot of the Korean Protoss players mess around with carrier rushes. Hero, Classic, Astrea, they've all been messing around with rushing into a fleet beacon and the second Stargate. I wonder if Nightmare is willing to do the same here on Equilibrium. For now, the initial Stargate opener has been scouted. But one of the more impactful changes here in this matchup is the fact that +2 Banelings no longer one-shot. They no longer one-shot probes, so it does mean you have to commit a little bit harder if you want to do economic damage to the Protoss, which I think is a good change. I do think that one Baneling killing a mineral line is a bit too much. it's a little bit crazy. So that is no longer the case, and that will help Protoss players a little bit more, as Nightmare is going for a Void Ray opener. The first piece of the puzzle is upon us. And with this Void Ray, he's going to be denying scouting information. This doesn't mean that we're going to see Skytoss, but it means that if we did get additional Stargates, then it wouldn't be scouted. Scarlett wouldn't see it. She wouldn't know. As the job of this Void Ray is to just hunt down as many Overlords as possible and, again, keep the Zerg player in the dark. Lings are moving out. Third base is to be taken. There is an Adept in position, and this third base should be okay. Ooh, as one probe does go down. Good pick off. Nicely done here by Scarlett. As the Void Ray is looking for potentially another Overlord, does go straight to the main. Shouldn't get much done here. He's going to take a little bit of hull damage as well before being forced back. And we have our answer. It's going to be Stargate into Twilight Council. No Forge. This is looking like Glaive Adepts. Oh, no, never mind. There's the Forge. Okay. My mistake. A bit of a later Forge. Wasn't lined up with the first Twilight Council, but okay. It looks like a standard follow-up here from Nightmare. So it should be +1 into Blink or Charge. One or the other. No Skytoss. I'm curious. We did just warp in a couple of sentries. Oracle's just trying to keep tabs on things. There's a bit of a gateway explosion on the way. There it is. It is going to be +1 on Blink. Again, those sentries, they will allow Nightmare to be a little bit more active on the map, scouting with those hallucinations. There is, of course, a weird gold base as well. I should bring that up. It's got 6 mineral patches. It is a very exposed base, but Scarlett is taking it as a 4th. Interesting choice. We'll see if she can hold on to it. We'll see if Nightmare can try to punish that gold, as it is being taken. Scarlett back at home just going to be droning, working on +1 melee. And let's go. It is going to be Ling Hydra. That's another big change to this matchup, is that Hydras, in a way, have been improved. In a bit of a minor way. As the Hydras, the upgrades at least are cheaper. Sorry, research costs and research time has been reduced for these Hydras, so it's a little bit easier to get into Ling Hydra as a composition. And specifically, Ling Hydra is ideal against Blink Stalkers, and that happens to be what Nightmare is going into. If we saw something like Charger Archon into Storm, I would be a little bit more concerned for Scarlett, but against Blink Stalkers like this is a little bit more ideal. Meanwhile, once again, Nightmare, he hasn't taken his gases at this third base. Prism is on the way. Nightmare is looking to push out here with a mass amount of Stalkers. How many gateways is he on? I'm actually not entirely certain. We saw him pull off a 3-base all-in last game. Okay, he's taking gases. Okay, we're good. As he is going to be pushing out. It does have a couple of sentries and force fields. Now, these sentries are going to be that much more impactful because there are no Ravagers. This is not a Roach Ravager-based composition like we usually see. Because it's Ling Hydra, the biggest weakness, or one of the big weaknesses of Ling Hydra, is that there is no way to deal with force fields. So Nightmare's composition can actually work even a little bit better here just because he's got 3 sentries in the mix. Oh, but this is a very wide open area. Oh, he is very prone to being surrounded. Lings are coming in from behind. Force fields are thrown down. The sentries are going to fall, but the Stalkers survive. Hot pick up there. Nightmare, he does save that 1 sentry. He averts disaster. But that could have been it. That could have been game. Again, clutch moves out of Nightmare. As soon as he saw the Ling Hydra, immediately second Robo and a Robotics Bay. Nightmare, he's trying to get into Colossus, but this is a late reaction. This is a late transition from Nightmare. As a result, Scarlett is going to hit first before we get Colossus. Uh-oh. Nightmare, he's in some trouble. He's got Blink Stalkers, but again, the Lings, they do have map control. Void Ray is being forced back, and Nightmare, he's up against the ropes. Oh my god, we're even going for some Dropper Lords. A couple of Stalkers are going down. Hydra's pushing on forward. The Robotics Bay just finished up. We need those Colossi. There we go. We have 1 on the way. Overlord speed is about to kick in, and Scarlett is setting up for a massive Doom drop into the main base. At the same time, we do have a War Prism making its way to the main of Scarlett. Will this force her to turn around? As at the same time, she's pushing into that third. Do have a ramp, though. We do have the high ground, and Nightmare, he's holding for now. At the same time, the Prism slips into the main base. Scarlett also getting ready for her own Doom drop. Oh, and Nightmare is not ready for this. Massive drop into the main. The first Colossus has arrived, but we have nothing in the main. Now, Nightmare, he can recall. Good force fields. Oh my god. A lot of Hydras are going down. But at the same time, there are Hydras in the main. We go for the recall. Where is the Colossus going to pop out? No! It's on the wrong side! 1 Colossus goes down immediately. The boys have to be pulled, and Nightmare, he's being pulled apart. Second Colossus taking a lot of hits. It goes down as well, and it looks like Scarlett is snowballing out of control. Takes down 22 workers, takes down 2 Colossi. Behind this, she is not all in. She's working towards a Lurker Den, Infestation Pit, Hive Tech. GG gets called, and Scarlett takes game number 2. And Shopify Rebellion will win the series 5-1. GG, well played. Again, really unfortunate build choice there from Nightmare. Unfortunate scout timing. He did not see the Hydras until he was already attacking, and that's when he had to just quickly switch gears. But at that point, it was a little bit too late, right? It's like we mentioned it at the time, it was a very late transition into Colossus tech. Very quickly, he lost map control very quickly. Scarlett just took control of everything and was able to sneak out with that Doom drop into the main base. Very cheeky move. Very well done. GG, well played. Shopify will take the series in the end. Matcherino do take a game. Shout out to Nightmare. I do think that Nightmare is the ace player of Matcherino. Maybe it's close between Nightmare and Astrea, but he was able to put a point on the board. And that wraps up our day of StarCraft. Tomorrow, we have some more. Tomorrow is day 2 of round 1 of WTL. We kick things off with Mystery Gaming versus DragonKy Gaming. And we finish off the night with Platinum Heroes versus Starlight Twinkle. Oof. So some more matches are coming up tomorrow. That is, of course, tomorrow. For those wondering, WTL is 3 days. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. 3 days straight of World Team League action. And tomorrow, I will not be alone. I'll be joined by Asher as well. Asher Bro should be joining me for tomorrow's broadcast. But we have more. We have more than just WTL. Tomorrow's going to be a big day. Oh, God. I need to prepare for it. Tomorrow is KSL, followed by Grand Platypus Open, followed by World Team League. 3 tournaments back to back to back, 3 casts in a row. That's typically how we do things here on the CranKy Ducklings. That's typically how busy our weekends are. So if you enjoyed the cast, if you want some more CranKy Duckling action, then we have a lot of StarCraft for you over the weekend. Again, tomorrow is KSL, followed by GPO, followed by WTL. Sunday is more World Team League, and also Sparkling Tuna Cup as well. So, A lot of StarCraft, a lot of StarCraft. Help me, Bobby, help me. So thankfully, Ash is gonna be there to help me and to help me cover Saturday at least, and we'll see if I can reach out to Yaku and he can help me out on Sunday. Until then, though, thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for the support. We do appreciate it. Again, this was merely the beginning of World Team League Winter, and we still have many more weeks ahead of us for more World Team League action. As a reminder, enjoy yourselves out there. The new patch is live on NA. New ladder map pool, new patch. It's a fresh new game. It feels good. It feels so refreshing, especially playing on the new maps. I think the new maps are the most fun thing for me, at least. So enjoy yourselves out there. Take care. Have fun. Have a great weekend. Until then, thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Hasta luego.